Hey buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. Today we're looking at Sherlock 13. This is a how to set up, play and review video. This has been published by Arcane Wonders. Check out my other videos on the channel by Arcane Wonders, including for Foundations of Rome and many other games also coming to you soon. Of course, make sure you like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. This is a deduction game. It's for 2 to 4 players. Plays slightly differently as a 2. I'll talk about that one afterwards. And the artwork once again by the wonderful Vincent Dutrait. So this is a game involving 13 cards. There has been some sort of murder and we're trying to identify who the actual culprit is. And this is a game initially published over in, I think it was Korea, in South Korea, by Hope S. Wang, and that is been by boardgame Factory, who I've never heard of. I think is probably local to them over there. You will need some pencils. I happen to have some Sherlock pencils here, which has nothing to do with the game, so you will need to get yourself a pencil. It's kind of a micro game, so check my microlist playlist as well. I've played this at all player counts, and hence why I'm bringing you the review now. You could have checked out my how to set up player review playlist. Also check out my unboxing, teaser, trailer, preview, or video playlist as well. To of course see how this looked out in terms of the weighing of it. So you're going to need one of these each, and what you're going to do is tear off a piece of paper, give it to every player, and what you're going to do is take your little vanity shield, which I must admit could be a lot deeper because people can kind of see maybe where you're moving stuff. But if I show you that big pad of paper, you can see it does fit very, very nicely around there. So what you're going to be doing is dealing these out equally. So if you're playing it as a 4, you'll be taking 3 each. If you're playing it as a 4, you're taking 3 each. Taking it as a 3, you're taking 4 each. I think I said that correctly. And 1 will be the murderer. We will not know who that is. If you're playing it as a 2, you're placing 2 extra cards, and it gives you the option to switch out those cards, which means you'll learn some more information. So let's look at some of these cards. In fact, let's look at 4 cards. Or 3, it doesn't really matter. So there's various different symbols we have here. We have various things we can talk about. We happen to have a pipe. We've got a light bulb, we've got a journal. There can also be other things. We have got fists, and we have necklaces, and eyes, and skulls, and badges. And what you're looking to do is realise that these 3, in this occasion for myself, are not the murderer. So everybody else is going to have their set of cards. So they can cross off who they know it is not. And then you're also going to tally against your names, put your name in here and other people's names next to it. I recommend you do it in clockwise order. And it's not written in the rule book about that, but I recommend that. Because you're going to go in turn asking. So initially you're going to be crossing off 1 pipe. So in this case we know in total there's 5 pipes, 5 light bulbs, etc. So I know that there's obviously 1 fewer pipe out there somewhere. There's 1 fewer skull, but there's 3 fewer light bulbs, which means there's only 2 available. So what we're going to be doing on our turn is we're going to say ask everybody else. So if it's more than 2 players, ask everybody else who has got a light bulb, and other people are going to place their hands up. You as the active player will not be putting your hand up. And if you see only 1 person putting your hand up, well, they might have 2, they might have 1, you don't know. But if 2 people put their hands up, you now know that, of course, there's no light bulbs present on this card because they've all been accounted for, in which case you can cross off all the people who happen to have light bulbs. So Sherlock Holmes is not there, it's not Mycroft Holmes, it's not Iron Adler, etc. It's not Inspector Baines. And you're going to keep on going, and on your turn you're either asking who has light bulbs. So imagine only 1 person put their hand up. That means they might have 2 light bulbs in front of them, obviously you won't know, or they've got 1. On a future turn, you can say, how many light bulbs do you have? Of course, the person who put the hand up, and therefore you know it is exactly 1, in which case you know that the murderer definitely does have, obviously, light bulbs. You're crossing everybody out who doesn't have that, so that's quite an efficient way of doing it. And you're going to keep on going around, and either, like I said, you're asking how many in total somebody's got, so who has got them, sorry, so who, or you're asking how, so how many. So either who or how, but you can't ask both on the same occasion. And the final option you can do instead is just to accuse, in which case you have 1 attempt only to circle or underline a recommend. Again, it's not really in the rules, but underline who you think it is. And then what you're doing is going to flip over the card. In this case, it was John H. Watson, and that's because there's only 1 pipe remaining, 1 eye, and 1, obviously, fist, in which case you know who that murderer is. And what you're doing then, of course, you're going to win. However, if you're secretly looking at it and you got it wrong, you're going to place it back face down. Again, you're still going to be answering people's questions if they say who has got journals, etc., or how many journals do you have. Again, they're going to ask you one of those 2 options. And it's a game whereby you've got to think that if you're asking a question, you're helping everybody else potentially as well. You could bluff, which I've tried as well. And if you're asking a question, that means your person to the left of you, they could well instead think, okay, well, I'm learning more and more and more. I'm going to let them ask a question, or they've asked a question. Now I'm going to choose. Equally, if you're down to 2 options, You don't know how well everyone else is doing, but you might choose to actually say, right, I'm actually going to risk it and accuse, because if you waited a whole turn around, so maybe an extra 2 turns or 3 turns, if you're playing it as a 3 or a 4, then you're going to have to actually think, well, actually, I might even get another accusation in. Now, I've never won this. I've felt I had to kind of risk it and jump in early. And when people have actually managed to get it correctly, which only happened once in the last game, because I think we kind of rushed it too much, I still actually kind of hadn't fully got it. But in that 4-player game, 2 people managed to get it, and then I had attempted it and I didn't get it, unfortunately. So you need to be quite good at writing like a question mark. I tend to write down if you're the active player asking, etc. Again, there's not really a good example in the rulebook, and I said I wish it would be a bit longer. So lovely artwork, as you can see, going on here. And in terms of my rating, well, I would kind of give this close to actually what I think the average consensus is on BGG, about 6.4, 6.5. It's good, it's very quick. As a 2-player, you're playing about 4 minutes. Like I said, you can have 2 cards spaced down, you can mix them in. I think I do agree that it's slightly better with more. I don't necessarily agree it has to be best as a 4. I think it's fine as a 3. And there is an advanced variant, which I haven't even tackled yet, because again, I'm not that good at it, I think. You're going to have 5 of these cards as an example, or deal them out. And basically, each time you're asking something, you're going to move that to the back, which is one fewer thing that you're counting towards what you're using, which I think has confused me a bit. But if you're interested, of course, if you get this game, check out the advanced variant. By all means, try out this basic version first. A very small, obviously, box, and these are double-sided, which is very nice. It's obviously a huge amount of pads to get through. I do laminate stuff anyway. But that has been Sherlock 13. Check out my escape room playlist. I guess that could kind of go in there too. But again, only 13 cards. It's going in the family rate playlist as well. And again, like it doesn't come in any pencils or anything, so make sure you supply your own in case you happen to go somewhere and you've already obviously got it. And like I said, I like the fact that these are unique. It does kind of tell you what you can do, who has got them, and then how many you're asking instead. And of course, you can accuse. Only 3 options, nice and light, quick game. Good filler, is really swift. In terms of replayability for me, again, maybe because I'm not that good at it, I'm not praising it as highly as I might do. It doesn't necessarily mean I don't want to keep on playing it. It's just obviously typically if there's a game that I don't fully grasp or I'm not particularly good at, it doesn't necessarily compel me to play it compared to some other ones. For example, Foundations of Rome, obviously keep on playing that with lots of people. It's always on display. So there we go, that has been Sherlock 13. I initially played another version of this game called 13 Clues, which did seem very, very familiar. This is also going to my Essen 2023 playlist. That's why I got this game, and I hope you found it of interest. Of course, do check out the comments as well. Please do, as I mentioned, share, but via the comments it is best because this does get shared elsewhere, so it's best to comment on YouTube. Also, by all means, check out the description, check out the errata just in case. I don't think I said anything correctly. But via that, you can also check out the podcast, also Instagram, TikTok, X, etc. And of course, various things such as Facebook to join the discussion there. But for now, back to the table.